Mama's in the living room watching Judge Judy. I'm in the kitchen eating leftover sushi, and she goes, "Oh, girl, you gotta hear this one." A man was arrested for running a theme park, and when they said, "Where's your license?" he said, "My dog ate it." Oh, you can't make this shit up. Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. Girl, you gotta hear this one. Mama loves to laugh at how absurd life is, says it's all a comedy and I'm her audience. And I love the way she makes fun of the world. She said, "You'll never guess who with their girlfriend. It was a man who didn't get us out of the bed. He said, I've been through hell and now I need some help. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make this shit up." Sometimes I wonder if life's just one big cosmic joke. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. It's like she's on a Reddit, reading r/funny lawsuits, yelling from the couch. As she sips on a Prosecco, makes fun of all the weirdos, and then I hear her shout. Girl, you gotta hear this one.
Hey all you crazy people, welcome back to my channel. It is Squid. Hold on, we have a mom emergency. I have to plug headphones into the little pad before she freaks out on me, because this is just what we do. Hope everybody is having a good Monday. It's been a crazy busy and a motivated Monday. Hold on, Angel. Not everything is a national emergency, I promise. I promise you, babe. Not everything is an emergency. Do you want to sit on your couch?
Yeah.
Go sit on your couch.
No.
Okay, you sit right here. That'll work too. Headphones? Okay. Girl, you got your headphones? All right. Girl got her headphones, aka my old headphones. The cheapy headphones that I had before my dad bought me some for my birthday. 40 was a good birthday. Anyway, with that, it's been a motivated Monday. My OT video, my ergonomics video went from members only to everybody. So check that out if you haven't. And with that being said, instead of trying to put help, you got it, girl, you got it. Instead of trying to put OT content on this channel where I am crass, we talk about drama, we tell it like it is. Hold on, beautiful. Hold on, baby. Not everything is a national emergency, I promise. I promise, baby. There we go. Yeah. It's yes, branded motivated Monday. Instead of trying to put all of that content that I am passionate about and that reminds me of why I went to college, my career, and the fact that I never want to work in a big healthcare system again, but I still want to help people. Not exactly appropriate for this channel. So I am dropping a link in the chat to my new channel. I decided in discussing it with a couple of people, well, mostly just one person, and mostly just one person and mostly just one person in an AI program. I am, girl, I just refilled that. You gonna steal my water already? There you go. Please don't spill it. I am going to hello. I apparently just forgot how to use YouTube. I've been working on stuff all morning for this. So we have a new channel link. That is my new channel. Everybody go over there and follow me. Obviously I have no content right now. However, content will be coming eventually. Shorts, things like that, all my gym stuff will be over there, because not Angel, you don't need me right now. No. Tantrum incoming in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So we no, please don't spill it. 5 minutes and clean up. I'll undersquid. Yes. So that is where I will be doing OT content. Living life. We need to get together and reschedule our art therapy session. I will be doing that over there. Hopefully that channel will be able to get monetized. Angel, you want strawberries? You can have strawberries. Here. Girl, you got everything you need. The only thing you don't have is sitting in my lap, and you haven't wanted to sit in my lap all day. So everybody just know that that content will be coming. It is evidence through motion. Girl is all of a sudden wants to be mom. She hasn't wanted anything to do with me. We FaceTimed Grandpa a little while ago. She wanted nothing to do with me and nothing to do with the phone. And now, hold on. Be right back. All right. Hopefully getting to this content that we're all here for today. We are talking Letitia James and all of the fun stuff going on with her indictment. However, before we actually get to her indictment, we have some things to talk about. Yeah, it's panty hamsters. It's the panty hamsters. I mentioned it and somebody made me a meme. So we have to talk about all of the things that somebody has decided she wanted to say prior to her being indicted. So before we read the indictment, we're just going to take a little stroll down memory lane, shall we? Join me on this little pity party of hers. Whoa, hold on. Alrighty. So this is her when she was.
Well, bring him down. The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated. We will all rise up and resist this man, and ultimately we'll bring him down. This illegitimate president, I'm going to give you the same level of respect that you gave to President Obama, and that is absolutely no respect at all. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! In the days of Donald Trump are numbered. Lock him up! Lock him up! What? Lock him up! What? Lock him up! What? Lock him up! What?
That is not true.
That is not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. Not true. And then the evidence. I swear, some of these people, politicians on both sides, and people in general, forget that the internet is forever. You put something on the internet. You put something on the internet. You put something on the internet, and here we go again. We got to get another video. Do we go and play this one?
So going into the office.
What is fueling my soul right now is Trump. Will you sue him for us?
Okay, I'm sorry. Like, what is fueling my soul right now is Trump. Like, regardless of politics, putting left, right, anything aside, if one person is fueling your entire soul and you are not married to that person, or that entity is not God, we have a problem. We have a problem. I'm just gonna say, like, regardless of whatever you think of Trump, love him, hate him, I do not care. There's people from all sides of the aisle. I just present facts and people's own words and let y'all decide. But my opinion is if one person fuels your entire soul, regardless, if you are not married to that person is not your child, or that is not God, we have a big old problem. Because I'm just, and yeah, not saying I totally agree, but she fucked around and found out. And this is my thing. I don't always agree with certain things, but the pendulum will always swing back at the other direction. So when you play these courtroom games and you play these, we're going to go after certain people because they're we don't agree with them politically, and we're going to search for dirt, and we're going to do this. The pendulum will always swing back in the other direction. And I am convinced that if you go searching in just about, I would say 90% of the population, we break laws on a daily basis. You get in your car, you speed, congratulations, you're now a criminal. Like, no one is perfect, but do not throw stones when you live in a damn glass house. And that's where it's like you indicted him on the same thing that you were being charged with. And by the way, there's this certificate of occupancy is right here. I'm just a thought. So, but I have so many problems with just the people in. But Sandy Dad, but she actually, from the looks of this did break the law. So if you live in a glass house, you should not throw stones. She maliciously prosecuted Trump based on her own words. Like,
oh, we're going to definitely assume we're going to be a real pain in the ass.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every
I know my name personally.
But it's fueling.
So when you literally say that your whole goal is to take him down, and you were literally doing the exact same thing that you accused, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that. Just when you live in a glass house, don't throw a goddamn rock. I am just saying. So y'all can think whatever you want. Like, I don't judge what people think as long as they can come up with receipts. But certain issues, when you come up with certain things like this, let's take a little walk down memory lane, and now you're trying to act all high and mighty like you didn't do any of the stuff. It's just the hypocrisy that I cannot stand. And if you've been on this channel for more than like an hour, you know that my biggest problem is when people are hypocrites. So we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this indictment and what it actually says. Yeah, and that's completely true. No, it's different. The president has presidential immunity, but he also has to put up with free speech. So that doesn't. Well, to say that you're going to go after him and take him down and then actually do it is different than free speech. Because when you are in a position of attorney general and you campaigned on taking Trump down, also when you're so obsessed with one person, like I don't know what it is, but I have never in my life been so obsessed with one person ever. Like maybe call me lazy, call me selfish, call me whatever. I've been called the spawn of Satan, and I've been blessed by a nun in the same fucking day. Actually, within the same hour, because it was one patient, and then my next patient was a nun. So it's when you campaign on going after one person, and you were literally breaking the law at the same time that you are. That's where it's like, I have some ethical issues with an attorney. Like, I have issues with the fucking attorneys all the time. Welcome to my channel. Like, welcome to my channel. I am not an attorney. I am an occupational therapy assistant and corrective exercise and lymphedema therapist. However, that being said, I think attorneys are some unethical bastards. Doesn't matter who they are. Like, and Palmer, thanks for being a member for 11 months. I can't believe I've had members for a year. Hopefully we can get that second channel up and monetized, because this is where y'all hear my opinions and I bitch, and we talk about the truth, and we show the document, and we read the documents, and we don't read through like the bullshit headlines. We go to the actual documents and we read the actual documents, because that's just what we do. Because I hate headlines on both sides. I think everybody sucks. However, we have the actual documents, and we're going to see what the U.S. attorney even said. And I just wanted to make sure that they redacted the grand jury foreperson's name before I showed this. I thought they do, but I always like to double check, because of the fact that I don't want to ever be accused of, if I ever show anything on, it's an accident, because I try my damnedest to not be that bitch. Like, I am a bitch, but I try not to be that bitch. And the thing about bitchiness is, like, I can be a bitch at times, but I own my bitchness. I don't act like a bitch and then tell you that I'm this fucking saint, because that shit ain't happening. That ain't happening. And hey, Palmer's, thanks for the $5 super chat. Sweet little baby squid, whatever fund. It's probably going to her my savings account for her teeth. So, you know, we are going to get into Yeah, 34 felonies that do you know what happened on appeal with those? So, and how can anyone stand up for nonsense? I just, yeah. Mm, 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 mm. And somebody sent me a meme earlier that said that I just thought was funny. Regardless of politics, it's just funny because it's even worse when it's true. So I have to look up this meme to tell you. I'm not going to show it, but it said Trump just showed the world that Hamas is easier to negotiate with than Democrats. Let that sink in, is what the meme said. And I was like, oh, that's got an ounce of truth to it, which is kind of sad. I just don't understand how how people wake up so obsessed with one person. Like, yeah, show me the man, I'll find the crimes. Not my opinion. It's just, so, all right. That is good to go. And I'm still, StreamYard gave me whatever. Sorry, my brain fog is real today. For those of you that are new here, I had brain surgery in 2020. So sometimes I have problems finding words. And if you have problems with that, and sometimes I get sidetracked because I can't remember shit because I had brain surgery and I have a headache yet again today. I've had a headache for 2 weeks in a row. I'm probably going to have to make a doctor's appointment sometime soon. Then kick rocks because it's me. If we don't get through, sorry. There we go. And this address is in Norfolk. So general allegations, all the times relevant to this indictment, Letitia James was a resident of Brooklyn and the borrower on Fannie Mae-backed mortgage loan for the property located at Norfolk. And I know that address. I know where that address is. I think I live right down the road from that address, actually. I'll have to put it in Google. OVM Financial, also known as Old Virginia Mortgage, Annie Mac, was a mortgage lending business located in Virginia Beach, engaged in the business of originating and underwriting residential mortgage loans, including those backed by the Federal National Mortgage Association, Fannie Mae. OVM Financial qualified as a financial institution within the meaning of 18 U.S. Code 2010. Fannie Mae was a federally chartered corporation that purchased guaranteed mortgages operating as a government-sponsored enterprise under the oversight of Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA. First Savings Bank was a state-chartered FDIC-insured financial institution, certificate, whatever. No one cares about the damn certificate number. It matters to the lawsuit, but doesn't matter to y'all. First, headquartered in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which was acquired mortgage loans through assignment or acquisition. First Savings Bank qualified as a financial institution within the same 18 U.S. Code 21. On or about August 17th, 2020, James, a sole borrower, purchased the 3-bedroom, 1-bath property in Norfolk for approximately $137,000. Oh, back in 2020 when shit was cheap. Financed with a mortgage loan of approximately $109,600, backed by Fannie Mae. The loan was originated at OVM Financial under the signed second home rider, which required James as the sole borrower to occupy and use the property as her secondary residence and prohibited its use as a time-sharing or other shared ownership arrangement or agreement that requires her to either rent the property or give any other person any control over the occupancy or use of the property. Despite these representations, The per-owned property was not occupied or used by James as a secondary residence and was instead used as a rental investment property, renting the property to a family of 3. This misrepresentation allowed James to obtain favorable loan terms not available for investment properties, including a note rate of 3%. I'm sorry. 3%. Fuck, man. 3%. This shows the underbelly of the powerful and rich. Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, and she is infamous, and I have the tweet somewhere. I was not intending to start a new channel today, and I've been super passionate about that this was kind of, we were going to do this on Saturday, and then 3D world has just been super crazy and kind of super awesome, but super crazy and exhausting. With that being said, it's left little time for things like looking up documents. And Malin, I know that you asked a question about different trial dates, and when we're done with this, it's only 5 pages. We will go through and I will answer and update trial dates and stuff for any questions we have. But right now, I just want to get through this. And thanks for everybody who is subscribing to my other channel. I appreciate it. There is no content there right now, but there will be. Shorts, everything. I have a plan. I just had to start the channel first. But like 2020, $137,000 in Virginia is probably about $400,000 right now. And at 3%, take into account, like, or take out of the equation Fannie Mae, 3% interest rate. Holy Jesus. How do you, can we have that back, please? Can we have that back? Can we have that back? Like, don't even go there. You're welcome. I just don't want to get derailed too quickly. We just want to get through this one first. 3%, avoiding a 0.815% higher comparable investment property rate of 3.815%, resulting in approximately $17,830 in rate savings over the life of the loan. That is, I mean, that's a good chunk of change. Probably not for an attorney, but yeah, a seller credit of approximately $3,288, exceeding the seller credit for investment properties by approximately $1,096 for total ill-gotten gains. The way this is written, of approximately $18,933 over the life of the loan. And it's like, bitch, you're rich. Why? Why? For someone like me, that's a lot of money. But for someone like her, that's probably chump change. I would love to be able to save that much money. And I did send out a message to my loan officer about this case, because I have questions that only someone who knows this, and not a lawyer's perspective, but like someone who works in mortgages. But she is super, super busy, and although she kind of got back to me, or she did get back to me, she just couldn't answer all my questions. So yeah, that was just 2020. With inflation, that's probably I don't know. There around here, a house that was $179,000 in 2020 is now $315,000 to $330,000. So, like, in her logic, that should result in a fine of 3,000,000,000 trillion, 30 trillion. Maybe I got that right, or 300 trillion. Oh, James's universal property application for homeowners insurance indicated owner-occupied non-seasonal use, further misrepresenting the intended use of the property. Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't have been bad if, like, okay, I could totally see this being non-prosecutable if she had intended to live there, and then let's say her niece and her sister and her sister's kids came under hard times and needed a place to live, and she had a vacant house that she had fully intentions to live in, and all of a sudden rented it out as like a, hey, y'all need a place. I can totally see, like, shit happens. Like, yes, we were intended to live there. I apologize for the fact that it was an intentional misrepresentation, but this sounds super intentional. What the hell are you watching? This is Letitia James's indictment, the Attorney General of New York. This is the actual documents, not the headlines for I didn't do this, she did this, the left and the right back and forth bullshit of what she said, what she didn't say, what she didn't. No, we like reading the actual documents. No, it's fine. It's fine. But on this channel, we like reading the actual documents and stuff. We go beyond the headlines and the left versus right versus whatever the independent / libertarian way of thinking, whatever their media might be saying. I don't know. However, we are reading the actual documents to find out what the court says or what the government is actually accusing her. Because I know that even buying a house, I still don't understand a lot of mortgage shit. Like, accounting in school was not my jam. I liked math because 1 + 1 always equals 2. No teacher could subjectively change that shit, no matter how much they liked or hated me. However, mortgages and filing the freaking paperwork and having paperwork this thick for my mortgage, well, it depends on where it is in Norfolk too. Like, I mean, if it's on the beach, an 1,100 square foot house, I would live in Norfolk. I did live in Norfolk for 5 years, 4.5. So, like, I take a beach house, even small as it may be. Beach house, call it a day. But hey, Killdozer, just mortgages are still out of my, like, I never want to go through that shit again. Isn't it fraud though? If you are knowingly, this isn't criminal. Then what was Trump's misrepresentation? That wasn't criminal either. I mean, if logic says if one's not criminal, the other's not criminal either. Yeah. How much room you need? I don't know. There was somebody who I know was selling a condo, in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo in Charleston on the beach. That was a shit ton more than this. So, but these are all these, if these bank fraud, it technically is bank fraud, but is it a misdemeanor or is it a felony? Because you don't get just locked up for every crime that you commit. There's people that commit a shit ton of crimes who don't go to jail. See DC. Simple battery. Speeding is a crime. You don't go to jail for that. So it's like, it also depends on what the crime is as far as the criminal code. And where? What could be a felony in one place could be a misdemeanor in another. That's the problem. Not the problem with the US, but that's a discrepancy with talking about things from state to state. When someone in Nevada or California or Washington or Arizona claims to be an expert about New York, Virginia, Maine, Washington, and the laws are completely different. What is a felony, and this is a hypothetical, what it could be a felony in Maine is a misdemeanor in California. What's a felony in Texas is a misdemeanor in Wisconsin. Like, they're not all, but this is federal. So there's that. But like, there's so much discrepancies between state laws that when someone claims to be an expert in anything, it's like, well, what are you an expert at? Where are you an expert at this particular thing? And where is the case that you are talking about? This is how my mind works with just because someone says they're an expert, even if they're a lawyer, see bubble brain for a second. Stats or Gail, let's talk about Bubbles for a second. Bubbles is a lawyer in Massachusetts. He might take this one with a grain of salt, y'all, because he's not blocked on this channel anymore, so he might come back. Bubbles might be a great lawyer in Connecticut and or Massachusetts. However, you take Connecticut and Massachusetts law in New England and you put him in Florida and have him deal with Florida law, you might not be that good of a lawyer. Not to say that you are a bad lawyer, but different state, different laws. And if you haven't studied the law of the place that you are going to practice, you might have problems. Just a thought. Like Randy, not knowing that service by email was illegal in Wisconsin. Huge problem when you're trying to talk about laws in other states and you don't actually know them. So you're making something that happens within state lines for a mortgage criminally liable federally leave. It doesn't work like that. Well, yeah, it technically does work like that because she's in New York. Home is in Norfolk, Virginia. Therefore, crossing state lines makes it federal. So, yeah. So, I mean, my 3-year-old would understand that. So, I just, the way I see it, fraud is fraud. It is illegal. No one is above the law. Crime is a crime, no matter who breaks it. And that's kind of my, So, James filed Schedule E tax forms under penalties of perjury, treating the Perron property as a rental real estate. Okay, so on tax forms, she treated it as real estate, but under her mortgage, so that is page 3, under her mortgage, she filed it as, so under financial, or by OVM Financial, under assigned second home rider, which required James as the sole borrower to occupy and use the property as her second residence. Prohibited use as a time sharing or other shared ownership arrangement, or agreement that requires her either to rent the property or give any other person control over the occupancy of the use of the property. Okay. So she represented it as, in her mortgage, as a second home rider. And then in tax forms, there's no way that, and I think that is where the problem, like, just from a simple layman's terms, in layman's perspective, that's a problem. You can't, on mortgage paperwork, loan applications, do a second home rider, and then in tax forms claim it as a rental. That's either mortgage fraud or tax fraud. Which one? I mean, either way you look at it, it's not like it just like. And Sandy, I understand where you're coming from, that you hate Trump. I get it. It's fine. But we're not talking about Trump and that case. That case is over with. We are talking about Letitia James. And if you can't stay on topic, you get, well, people have been down to one warning on this channel, because I've kind of been pissed at the chat because they get sidetracked and they get me sidetracked. And with my cognitive deficits, I can't afford to get sidetracked. I don't make enough money for that shit. Like, this is not a big channel. So you get one warning, and then my mods will, like, I get it. You're obsessed. I get it. You say you don't hate Trump, but you hate what Trump does. Like, fine. Like, whatever. Just stay on topic. So, like, yeah, right here. Like, you got a bad case. Like, there's one. I've warned you before. I've warned you before you've been timed out. But now stats, I'm literally down to like there you go. Bye. Now you wanted to threaten me. So now you wanted to threaten me. Don't tempt me. That's a threat. I will take that as a viable threat, especially in these days. Did anybody get a screenshot? Yeet. Did anybody get a screenshot of that? Something went wrong. Oh, there we go. Oh, he farted. Poof, gone. So, thank you, Dad. And I'm sorry. My no stats. You didn't get in trouble. Sandy Dad got the boot. Got the geet. Oh my goodness. I'm just trying to get into dashboard or studio and get into the stream so that I can unban them from the channel, because when I do it from StreamYard, it boots them from the channel. And I don't want to boot them from the channel. I just want to time them out. And that's where I went wrong. The control room, and it's not letting me do it. So can one of my managing mods what the heck is going on? We had a troll, someone who was getting off topic, and I asked them to stop, and they said, "Don't tempt me," and stuff like that. So I yeeted them. So yeah, I yeeted them. I'm gonna. There we go. I forgot that in StreamYard, it doesn't give me the option to undo them, or like it just bans them from my channel. So if you ever stream and you use StreamYard and you boot somebody from your chat in StreamYard, it hides them from this channel. So I changed their thing to 1 minute. So just in case. Let's see. Now I just have to get back to there we go. All right. Getting back on topic. Hey Timothy, how are you? 1 minute in the corner. Yeah. They're welcome back. It's just like, stay on topic. Trump's case is over. This has nothing to do with Trump. To be honest with you, this has nothing to do with Trump. This is her bad. So, oh, Jerry, that's one of the reasons that I'm starting to record and edit more videos, is because the chat's just starting to wear on me a little bit, and I need a vacation. But I also enjoy content, so, and I need a challenge. Well, not need a challenge, but like, I love talking to you guys. It's so easy to hop on a live stream and talk to you guys. It's like having a conversation with friends and making fun of some people occasionally. But like, recording is a challenge for me. So I am working on recording, because recording and editing. Talking to you guys on a live stream, super easy, because I know that there's people behind the camera. Looking at a camera and recording, I somehow lose my mind. I'm like, that, you know, can't talk all of a sudden. So, hey, John, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, don't poke the squid or you'll get the tentacle. Hey, John, go follow my new channel. Go follow my new channel. You might like it. I haven't started anything yet, but you might actually like that channel. I read the description. You might like that one. Then make your recordings with a guest. Yeah, I'm going to. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that later, Dad. But it sounds like on the mortgage and the loan application, she represented it one way, and then in the tax forms, she represented it another way. And whether it's fraud or a mistake, either way, something's not right. Hey, Sandy Dad, take this with you. Bye. I'm a Navy vet, a stay-at-home mom, and I had brain surgery. I don't give a fuck what some random person thinks of me on the internet. Bye. Just FYI. Oh, and Chris, thank you for the 5 gifted Squid Pro memberships. They went to Dory, Queen Bee, Chris Styles, Donna Miato, and Charlene McCrate. I really hope I said those right. And Papa Squid, meet John Cook. John Cook, meet my father. All right, get back into this. It's only 5 pages. Shouldn't take us that long, right? Count 1. Well, bank fraud. 18 U.S. Code Statute 1344. The allegations in paragraphs 1 through 12. Realleged herein. From on or about August 7th of 2020 through at least January 2024 in the Eastern District of Virginia and elsewhere, the defendant, Letitia James, did knowingly execute and attempt to execute a scheme artifice to defraud OVM Financial and First Savings Bank financial institutions and to obtain monies, funds, and credits owned by and under the custody and control of OVM Financial and First Savings Bank by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises. Bye. Like, toodles. Like, no one's holding your hand. Like, ta-ta. Like, then if it's long-time lurker, then okay. Like, I don't know what you want. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, am I supposed to care? I'm really not. Because either that or I forgot to give a fuck today. I'm not sure. But when I ask you to stay on topic and you... Yeah. I would like to think the lawyers that submitted this show what idiots they are. There's no legal precedent or basis. Legal precedence is the fact that it's a code that you're not supposed to do this. Let's see, 18. When we're done with this, just for you, we'll look up 18 U.S. Code 1344. All right. The scheme involved falsely representing the per-owned property as a secondary residence to obtain favorable mortgage terms, while using it as an investment property with no intended or actual personal occupancy or use by her, in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1344. Count 2, false statements to a financial institution, 18 U.S. Code 1014, paragraphs 1 through 12 again. On or about July 28th, 2020 through at least August 31st of 2020 in the Eastern District of Virginia and elsewhere, defendant Letitia James did knowingly make and cause to be made false statements and reports for the purposes of influencing the action of OBM Financial and Fannie Mae backed lender upon an application for a loan, in that James represented and affirmed in uniform residential loan applications and related documents that the per-owned property would be used as a secondary residence, when in truth and fact, as James then knew, the property was intended and used as an investment property with no intended or actual personal occupancy or use by her, in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1014. Forfeiture notice pursuant to Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure 32.2a and Title 18 U.S. Code 982a2a. Upon conviction of these offenses in counts 1 and 2, defendant Letitia James shall forfeit to the United States any property constituting or derived from proceeds obtained directly or indirectly as a result of such violations, including but not limited to a money judgment in the amount of $18,933. I mean, honestly, that's fair. If any property, the monetary, I don't know about the property itself, but like what you would have saved or what you saved, that's fair. Yeah, a grand jury and oversight judge obviously felt there was substantial evidence that a violation of federal law was violated. That's the thing too. So you subscribed and you just came back from filing a motion? Interesting. Interesting. Thought there would be no squirrel chasing. You know, there's always a little squirrel chasing. If any of the property described above as a result of any action or omission of the defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third party, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, and has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be divided without difficulty, the U.S. shall be entitled to a forfeiture of a substitute property pursuant to Title 21 U.S. Code 853b is incorporated by 18 U.S. Code, and 18 U.S. Code is just criminal. 982b1. That one, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Lindsay Halligan and signed by the foreperson. Like the forfeiture, I could see the money and the property, but like, and if you don't have the property, what the property sold for, I can totally see that if found guilty, because that makes sense. But like, substitute property, we'll have to look up Title 21 because that could mean a lot of things. Yeah, you know, if America's just survived and we can't argue between each other, that's exactly what the bots are trying to do, divide and conquer. Yeah, I get that. Number one, this does have a legal precedent, the right word, and basis, which the document she's reading lays out. Number two, pay attention and you might learn. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I can be mean to her or him. I don't know. I'm assuming it's a woman, but I could be wrong. We're reading the documents and judging based on what we see in the documents, because we have to take the documents as fact. A headline in CNN, AP, Fox News, whatever, is not a fucking is not a fact. It's an opinion. Whether they try to present it as a fact or not, it's a fucking opinion. So we read the facts here. Like, you know, oh, somebody's passed out. Somebody is passed, and I really wish I was passed out too. So 18 U.S. Code 1014. Let's see. Cornell Law School. Gotta love Cornell's like Legal Information Institute. It is so very helpful in a lot of things. All right. 18 U.S. Code 1014, loan and credit applications generally, renewals and discounts, crop insurance. Whoever knowingly makes false statement or report or willfully overvalues any land, property, or security for the purpose of influencing any way the action of Federal Housing Administration, the Farm Credit Administration, crop insurance corporation or company the corporation reinsures, Secretary of Agriculture acting through the Farmers Home Administration or successor agency, Rural Development Administration, successor, let's get to actually, where it, in connection with any provision that act, Federal Credit Union, insert stated, whole bunch of stuff. All right. So this to me would be what I think, and I could be wrong, what I think they got or tried to get Trump on. He made a false statement, he overvalued, but the bank didn't. If I'm remembering that correctly, he said a certain amount and the bank was like, no, we're going to give you a loan for this amount because that's all it's worth. He overappraised his properties and the bank was like, no. So it's just, see what notes say. Notes. Each of the 13 sections from which a section was derived contains similar provisions, either relating to false representations and statements or overvaluation of security with respect to one or more named banks, agencies, or corporations. These were consolidated in the false statement and security overvaluation provisions of all form the basis of the section. There we go. Banks and banking related to the acceptance of loans or gratuities by examiners were consolidated or similar provisions from other sections to form Section 218, now Section 213 of this title. The provisions of said Section 981 of Title 12, U.S. Code 1940, banks and banking, prohibiting Land and National Farm Loan Association examiners from performing, quote, any other service for compensation for any bank or banking or loan association. Yeah. All right. 8 of the consolidated sections contained identical punishment, each providing for a maximum fine of $5,000 and a maximum imprisonment of 2 years. 2 sections provided for a maximum fine of $10,000 and a maximum imprisonment of 5. 1 section provided for maximum fine of $5,000 and max imprisonment of 5 years. So this could go. We'll see what happens. And this is just all the amendments. Cornell Law School goes deep into this, and I'm just going back to 1014 and 1344 because we're just gonna go 18 U.S. Code 1344. Whoop. Let's see. We can all agree on that. I don't know what you're talking about, but I always try to find what we agree on. People basically want the same thing, but have different opinions on how to achieve those goals. Yeah, except for I'm finding that one side, since September 10th, I've changed my opinion on a lot of stuff. since September 10th, I have found that one side just thinks you're pure evil, and 1.25 side thinks you're just pure evil. And I've figured out that, well, I haven't figured out, other people, and I've heard other people say this, and I'm starting to think they're right. Before, I was hoping that they were wrong, and now I'm positive that they're correct. The reason that people name call and devalue you as a human is so that they don't feel bad when someone turns to violence and something happens, and they can justify why they shouldn't feel bad or why they can celebrate because your life wasn't worth anything to them. There's my problem with society right now is the fact that people name call, and you not only name call, but you devalue what those words actually mean, and you devalue the person's experience who has actually gone through things like that. For example, a few people on this channel have gone through what it means to actually have true racism and have dealt with it. And to just call anybody a racist because you don't agree with them devalues not only the definition of the word, but the experience of someone who has truly dealt with those kind of issues. So but they do it every day, because the more they do it, when something bad happens, they can justify why it's okay. Hi, Roy. How's the wife? How are you guys doing? All right. Let's see. 18 U.S. Code 1344, bank fraud. To defraud a financial institution or obtain any of the monies, funds, credit, assets, securities, or other property owned by or under the custody or control of a financial institution by means of false or fraudulent pretenses, representations, or promises. I mean, it's pretty much happy birthday to your better half. If she's feeling up to it, give her a hug for me. And make sure she knows it's from me, not from you. You can add one for yourself. Just make sure you don't forget mine. See ya. All right, 1990. There's notes from 1990 and 1989, but none that seem to be appropriate to this situation. So there's that. So updates on timelines of various things. Will be hopefully recording and uploading some shorts and or a video to the other channel this week or weekend. I might actually be able to record when we're done here, considering somebody decided she wanted to pass out. Yeah. Look at Fleesa. She can justify their harassment of what the hell because she claims she's doing it for the child, and I hate that. And I hate I hate when anybody uses a child. But the only people who should or can legally or should be able to legally and justifiably say, I can't do this because, we've all had those days where we can't do something because we have a sick kid. Whether your child is actually truly sick or just doesn't feel like going somewhere. The only people who should be allowed to use the child for anything, whether I agree with some things or not, is out of my control, but are the two people who are her guardians, legal guardians. Other than that, the thought of it just drives me up a wall. It drives me up a wall. It's isn't what she got indicted for the same thing she campaigned and getting Trump for? I believe. I did not actually see his indictment because it was a state indictment. And they kept it, from what I remember, they kept it pretty. I didn't have a channel back then, so I didn't search for legal documents as much as I do now. But they kept it pretty, like, it wasn't linked to any articles that I remember seeing. That's not to say that it wasn't in any articles, just none that I saw. However, this was pretty easy to find. I mean, this is also federal, and I have a Pace. I have a Pacer account, so it's pretty easy. However, I believe it's the same thing, but don't quote me exactly because I did not actually see the indictment itself. So, one dad joke coming up: if you get hurt playing peekaboo, where do you go for help? You go to the ICU. Of course you do. Of course you do. Timelines of other things. I have to check my calendar real quick, but I do know that John Cook said he filed a motion today, so that should be in any day now. Just because he submits it, because he doesn't have electronic filing, it does take time. So just remember, when someone tells you I filed it and you don't see it right away, doesn't mean they lied. So just slow our roll with like assuming to and I don't disagree. And that makes sense. It's just one of those, like, New York is not very open from what I've been able to search for, like Florida. Certain states are super easy to locate documents. Other states, you have to pay for documents, and other states, you can't get documents unless you go to the courthouse. Wisconsin can tell you what documents are there, but you can't actually get them unless you walk into the courthouse. Same thing with Nebraska. You have to pay for some stuff, but then other stuff, they have some stuff online that you have to pay for, but you can walk into the courthouse and get everything. It's weird. The 16th, which is Thursday, Lithman's answer is due for federal 2, last time I saw. The 21st of October, Anthony Shea, the person accused of unaliving his wife, he was a former Orange County Sheriff deputy, and his wife also worked for the department. He is accused of unaliving her and staging it as suicide. He has a hearing on the 21st. Tyler Robinson, the accused Charlie Kirk shooter, has a hearing on the 30th. Because Florida North Bankruptcy Court filed a motion, or filed an order basically stating we're putting all cases on hold. The bankruptcy case. So we have to talk. So I've seen some things on Facebook, in some Facebook groups, of the bankruptcy case. People saying, well, there is no bankruptcy case. We need to remember how the court system works. We need to have a heart-to-heart, or come to Jesus moment. Just because something was dismissed-ish by the judge, when someone files a motion for reinstatement and then there's a hearing scheduled, technically speaking, just like when, say, the thumbnail case, just because Lynette wanted to drop it and then it's not over. Just because one side is like, oh, we're dropping it, it's over. The other side was like, wait, you dragged us here. We need to talk about who's going to pay for all this and stuff like that. Just because Lynette or the judge said that it will be dismissed because of whatever the reason. I can't remember exact word for word the reason, so I'm not going to even, because I know people will take it out of context that she didn't say the right reason. I can't remember the word for word reason the judge used. However, when her lawyer filed that motion for reinstatement, and the judge in that case scheduled a hearing. Technically speaking, that case is not dismissed until after that hearing. However, with the government shutdown, bankruptcy court for Florida North decided that it was going to suspend all cases, basically stay all cases until November 1st. So technically speaking, we won't know anything about the bankruptcy until, yeah. So just remember, well, yeah, that's true too, but I was trying to keep it simple in regards to how one case compared to the other, in the sense of just because one person wanted to drop it or doesn't, you heard a bunch of people online going, she dropped it, it's over. Not according to the court system. So just because the judge said this case is dismissed, it's kind of that legal loophole where it's like, because if it was true, think about it, if it was truly dismissed, Randy would have filed a motion in federal one saying the bankruptcy is dismissed. It's in that legal holding pattern where it's technically not moving forward, but it's technically not dismissed. That hearing was supposed to be scheduled for the 7th, I think, but with the bankruptcy court putting everything on hold, it gave them more time. Thanks, Congress. Regardless of who you think is responsible for the shutdown, Congress, way to go. You extended federal one even farther. Congratulations. You can blame this one on Congress. You can blame this extension on Congress, because if that case was truly shut down, or truly dismissed, Randy would have filed a motion saying her bankruptcy's been dismissed. Let's get this show on the road. A lot more legal terminology than that, but we don't do legalese here. But there's no stay until it's fully reinstated and they go on for. Here's the thing. I have the motion. I have to find it where I put it, but it's not, the case itself is not stayed. Florida North put their entire bankruptcy court is stayed. So it's okay. Let's talk about this. Florida North put their entire bankruptcy case on, like, I have the motion. I just have to find it. It's in my Discord. I thought I saved it, but I didn't. Because I thought it wasn't gonna matter, but it matters. Oh, actually, I still had it open. Hell, I didn't realize I still had it open. All right. So this is the actual order from Florida North Bankruptcy Court. So just remember, this is in regards to Lynette's bankruptcy. This does apply to Lynette's bankruptcy case. U.S. Bankruptcy Court, Northern District of Florida, extension of time and stays of bankruptcy matters due to lapse in federal funding and government shutdown. Administrative order regarding continuances, extensions of time, and stays of the adversary proceedings due to federal government shutdown. Congress failed to pass an appropriations bill, or CR, by midnight September 30th. For that reason, beginning at 12:01 on October 1st, 2025, funding for numerous departments and several independent agencies of the U.S. expired. Appropriations to the Department of Justice and other federal departments and agencies has lapsed. Absent an appropriations bill or continuing resolution, employees of numerous departments and several agencies of the U.S. who have matters before the court may be prohibited from working, even on a voluntary basis. Among others, the Department of Justice and its attorneys and employees may be prohibited from working, even on a voluntary basis, due to the federal government shutdown, except in very limited circumstances, including emergencies involving the safety of human life or the protection of property. This includes attorneys and other employees of the United States Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Florida. As of this date, it's unknown whether Congress may pass an appropriations bill or CR that would restore funding. Given these circumstances, the court deems it's appropriate to enter this administrative order. For the reasons stated, it is ordered hearings in this case and adversary proceedings involving any claim, lien, or other interest of the U.S., including its agencies, scheduled on or after noon Eastern Time on October 1st and continuing through October 31st or the conclusion of the week, which the government shutdown ceases, whichever comes first, will be continued by docket entry only to the next available regular hearing calendar after October 31st. Yep. This thank you right here. This is what I'm trying to say. I've heard multiple people when I brought up stuff in Facebook pages, and people are like, well, the bankruptcy is dismissed. Technically, no. Technically, it's in a holding pattern. So until October 31st or the shutdown is over, her bankruptcy is still in limbo. That hearing has not occurred. So just because it was dismissed by the judge, that hearing was scheduled. If the judge would have said, no, we're not scheduling that hearing, I said what I said, then it's over. But because she scheduled that hearing, that bankruptcy case is not over. This is what's so frustrating about people and trying to explain to people how our legal system works. Our legal system is so damn complicated. But it's like, just because something is over doesn't mean it's over. Like, it's like an appeal. It's like Sarah Boone, yes, found guilty, but it's on appeal. So technically her case is not over. It's being appealed. So it's like, it's just, it's, yes. It's just, you're missing the point. They have a hearing scheduled. So it will not be truly dismissed until that hearing. And as of now, we don't know when that hearing is going to be, because there will be a backlog of hearings that were all canceled due to the shutdown. So I get your point, but you're wrong. I understand where you're coming from, but you're wrong. Yes, there's a good word for it. They appealed it. And because they appealed it, it's still technically in the court, tied up in the court system. And because of the government shutdown, it's tied up in the court system even more. So it's in limbo. So to people are like, it's dismissed. No, it's not. As far as the court system goes, no, it's not. Until there is a final judgment of dismissal, it is not. I know it was. But it is not technically dismissed as far as the court system and that final order, because of the fact that they had that hearing scheduled. That it's the lips loophole. Did she get her license taken away, or would she have gotten her license taken away? The world would never know. Yes, it's been dismissed, but because he filed an appeal and they scheduled a hearing, her case will not be dismissed until that hearing, which means right now it's causing everything else to be backlogged. Federal 1 is still stayed. Federal 2 is stayed in regards to her. Everybody's missing my fucking point. Everybody's totally missing the damn point. Yes. Wait until we find out how many people have to be released because they were held for too long without a trial. The longer the shutdown, the worse it gets. Yeah. I think everybody's missing my point, because everybody thinks way too hard about all of this. On a surface level, nothing will be truly dismissed in paper until the hearing, because you can't dismiss something and then have a hearing about it 3 weeks later. Like, you can't have a hearing on a dismissed case. Well, you understand what I'm saying, but I feel like half the fucking internet misses it. Because you still get people that are like, it's dismissed. Technically, yes, but technically, no. It's like paying your parking ticket and then having to go to court a month later. It's like, I paid it. Why am I here? You can't bring me to court for a parking ticket that I paid. The math ain't mathin', and it's hard to explain this to people because it's hard to explain this to people because you try to explain it and they're like, well, it's dismissed. Just like Lynette wanted to drop the thumbnail case and she filed papers to drop the thumbnail case, didn't mean the case was over. It means you had loose ends to tie up. Hearings to take care of, finances to take care of, who's going to pay for what kind of situations. Same thing here. Like, yes. I know what you're saying makes perfect sense, but then I grew up here. But I also had somebody tell me that a magistrate wasn't a judge. I'm like, no, a magistrate is a judge. That's why they call it a magistrate judge. But like, they're just not a full-fledged circuit court or a district judge, federal judge. But like, it's like, sometimes I wonder. But yeah, when Randy files in Fed 1 regards to LMNOP and JC, then it's over. Yeah. It's like, yeah, this is this right here. It's like, that's what people, but I still hear, like, when I try to explain to someone like that, but the judge dismissed it. And I'm trying to find like 4 or 5 different ways to describe it. And it's like, the more I try to describe it, the more people get confused with it. And it's like, it's really not that hard. But maybe it's just the way my brain works. But anyway, so this is all, yeah. Oh, he left for Paris Island. Oh, he's gonna come back a different person. He gonna leave a boy and come back a Marine. So this is the order from the bankruptcy court. So, and this doesn't apply to any other case. This just applies to bankruptcy cases. However, certain bankruptcy cases impact Fed 1 and Fed 2. So there's going to be an even longer delay, and you can thank Congress for that. So you got something right in English. Since we're waiting on the appeals, are all bananas is what you're saying. Yeah. So it's just I think the only real difference between a magistrate and a judge in federal courts is that a magistrate is hired and a judge is appointed. No, it's a federal or a magistrate's appointed too. Well, I thought was appointed. That it's almost like you're a district court judge in training, because that's all they're. I Googled it just to make sure I knew what the hell I was talking about. And it was, you are there to assist the district court judge with cases. Because if he wasn't a judge, he wouldn't be able to do he wouldn't be able to do anything. So it's even when he comes back a Marine, will still be my baby. That's adorable. That's adorable. So leave a boy and come back a Marine. So you're saying he's going to be a good looking for a few good men when he gets back. Just as long as he doesn't eat too many crayons when he's there, he should come back better than he left. So yeah, I understand a magistrate is watchful or helpful. A judge is more hands-on, and it at the same time, think about it as like a junior officer, still an officer, just is not in charge. Here, AT1, think about it as a CO versus an XO or a junior officer. You're still an officer. You just don't have all the responsibilities of, say, a captain or an admiral or, whatever Man, those magistrates are so judgy. I know. Basically, they're like an assistant judge. I mean, that's what Google basically. And I think I was at Cornell Law School when Cornell Law School's Legal Institute again when I magistrate judge versus district judge. I think I was at Cornell Law School. No, I was at KSD versus U.S. courts. Here, this is what we will. Uncle Sam's misguided children. My ass rides in Navy equipment, or muscles are required, intelligence not expected. You know. So district court judge, Article 3 judge, federal judge is nominated by the president and confirmed by the U.S. Senate to a lifetime appointment. Primary function is to resolve matters brought before the U.S. federal courts. Most federal courts in the U.S. are courts of limited jurisdiction. Magistrate judge is a judicial officer who is appointed by the court for an 8-year renewable term and has some but not all powers of a district judge. A magistrate judge may handle civil cases from start to finish if all parties consent. In non-consent cases, a magistrate judge may hear motions and other pretrial matters as assigned by a district judge. And I believe all parties consented to Belaytho. So, you know, always listen to the XO. He or she will make your life difficult if you don't. Now ends in dumb shit. Butterbar is a different story. AT1, I have a story for you. Do you remember, did you ever hear about the Enterprises XO that would do like movie night videos? That was my dude. That was my favorite XO, and he got in trouble. So yeah, he's basically a second lieutenant that hasn't been to officer's basic course. So he is nominated, or he is appointed. He's just appointed for a limited time, where a district court judge is appointed by the president for a lifetime. Oh, anything with the Navy guy who sued CNN. I will probably do that Wednesday. Tomorrow we are talking what the hails, but we are comparing the plan now, unless my two co-hosts come up with anything that they specifically want to preach or talk about, or anything that's biting their butt for that day. Comparing the documents that Luthman Sr. wrote. Yes. I believe it was, to the documents that Luthman Jr. wrote in that other court case in the Middle District of Florida. So we're going to compare the two and see if the same person wrote both, because I'm convinced that Luthman Sr. Didn't write those motions, but I could be wrong. I have to go into my Facebook. Captain, I think it was Captain Honors. So let's see. Yeah, Captain Owen Honors. Hold on. He was the Enterprise XO, and he left and then came back as CO and then got in trouble. So this guy. Disgraced CO honors now firing back. Former Enterprise skipper Captain Owens insists higher-ups knew of and encouraged now infamous videos aboard the aircraft carrier. We laughed at all those videos. XO movie night skits were the highlight of our week. The highlight of our week. It was pizza night. It was movie night, if you weren't involved in flight ops, obviously. But like, the brain is right here. I just have the lymphedema book instead. I'll move it. Hold on. Hold your roll. Hi, beautiful. Did you have a good nap? Mm-hmm. There. You happy? There, I put it back. Are you happy now? Is the judge ever going to make BBB like he did JH's lawyer? I'm pretty sure Bubbles sanctions will not be monetary. Monetary sanctions are like a speeding ticket. Like, hey, here, you effed up this, to pay your $2,000 and out the door. We're good. Thank you. All is right with the world. Not showing up for a show cause hearing that is specifically made for you is a big deal. However, because the bankruptcy courts are on hold and they haven't had that bankruptcy hearing to officially dismiss the bankruptcy, Federal 1 is still on hold. You can't, and Federal 1 is still stayed. You can't sanction someone involved in a case that's on a stay. There's the problem, and so it's like I don't think the brain book was put back exactly where it came from. It's fine. Don't make my OCD go crazy. But we'll talk about this on another show. But XO movie night was the shit. What was so funny, and it got him in trouble 8 years later. I don't know. So that book just belongs there. I liked my lymphedema book there too. All right, y'all. You guys have a great rest of the day. I'm going to get something to eat because I am hungry. I can hear my stomach growl, and I'm sorry if that showed up on, or that made it to, or the mic picked that up. I just after me then, not like when I walked into the division office, caught the devoship's chaplain and others watching training films produced by Vivid. Oh my god. Holy crap. This was 2006 was our deployment with the XO movie night skits. It was a lot of fun. Malin, I will look up. Last time I checked, there was a lot of nonsense stuff, just a bunch of filings talking about evidence and things that weren't really interesting or vital to talk about. But I haven't looked it up in a few weeks because I've been busy with everything else. So, don't think about politics and have a great day. Remember, there is more to life than who is in charge of the White House. Like, it should not be the first thing you think about when you wake up and the last thing you go to think about before you go to sleep at night. If the only thing that you think about in your soul is Donald Trump and your name is not Melania, then we got a problem. Hi, beautiful. You want to say goodbye? No. Okay. Yeah. If Donald Trump is the only thing you think about on a daily basis and your name is not Melania, yes, today's a big day. Hostages free. Hostages are free. Oh, Malin, did you hear? I guess there was reports that Melania did a press conference. She had been in contact with what's his nuts in Russia, and got Ukrainian children returned back to their homes too. So, yep. It's like, no matter what, like, love him or hate him, you can't deny that when he says he's going to do something, he does his damnedest to do it. So, surgery on Wednesday. See you after. Good luck. Yep, 20 children freed so far. So, hopefully more. So, y'all have a great day. We are going to go snuggle. Right? We're going to go snuggle. All right. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at about 2:00. Bye. Say bye. Have a great day, guys.